love of my life does not make me happy. It's not his job. On Friday night, I was crying all night because I was overwhelmed and overburdened and I felt awful and he couldn't fix it. And that's okay. Because a happy marriage, a happy partnership, at least for me, it doesn't come from the other person making you happy. It's from the other person still loving me, even when I'm not happy. Still making me feel loved, even when I'm not happy. On Friday night, I have the scene method. I usually express that I was so in emotion and I couldn't figure out why I felt the way I felt. And he still loved me. If you're a person who doesn't want to be a burden to others, and so when you have a negative emotion, you hide it and you're like, I'm going to do this. This is on me. This is my thing to fix. And then I'll come back to you once I fixed it. That was me. And then I was drowning in depression. And every day I was asking myself why people would choose to keep living if this is what life felt like. And the only way out of that depression was vulnerability. The only way out of that depression was showing people the parts of me I thought they would hate and were unlovable, showing them the negative emotions. I didn't do this in this aggressive, defensive way. What I found, which is part of where the scene method came from, is when I have a negative emotion, how do I share it without getting defensive and angry and immediately blaming somebody? And these 4 questions I ask myself is where I got connection from. So when I have a negative emotion that I want to hide, I ask myself 4 questions. What am I scared of? What am I embarrassed about? Because we'd say stupid stuff when we're embarrassed. What were my expectations? And were they reasonable? And did I express them? And sometimes it's expectations on me. Sometimes it's expectations on others. Often we get mad because they don't respond to us the way we expect them to, and it hurts. And then the 4th question, N, need. What do I need? And sometimes that's super simple, like, oh, I just need food or sleep or a hug or whatever. I love this because it was the practical guide to getting me from being defensive or a burden to being connected. Now, when I want my partner to make me happy, I can stop and go, oh, no, I'm trying to, I'm having a negative emotion and I don't want it to be my fault. So I ask those questions of myself and I force myself to share the answers with my loved one. When I first started doing this, my loved one was my good friends and my parents. And yeah, some of them couldn't handle it. And that was honestly not very many of them. And most of them loved it. And I realized I thought my emotions were going to make me a burden. And they actually turned me into a real friend. A friend to my husband, a friend to my parents, a friend to my friends. It's awesome. I talk about the scene method a lot in a lot of my videos. It's what made me go viral on Instagram, and for good reason. It is this like practical thing that I can always fall back on when I'm starting to feel disconnected from myself, the world, my partner, whoever. So I hope this reminder of it, if you have heard it before, is helpful. And I hope if this is the first time you're hearing it, that it helps you too. Okay. I hope you love your day. I hope you love you. Good morning. I forgot to say the reason it made me a great friend is that when I allowed myself to have those emotions, it allowed my friends, my family, my husband to have those emotions too. So these scene questions I actually use with my husband when he has strong emotions that he doesn't understand. What I've recognized in a couples coach and when I work with couples, what I've noticed a lot with couples is that a lot of women have shame around their emotions, but even more men have shame around their emotions and feel like they're supposed to be strong, which makes them emotional without knowing it. So this SEEN method transformed my relationship with a lot of the men in my life because it allowed a language for us to use to ask when they started to get angry or frustrated or resentful. Hold on, is there a fear underlying this or an embarrassment or an expectation or a need? What's going on with you beyond this? And saying, I love you and I want to be a great partner, friend, daughter, etc. So I want to share what's going on with what's actually underneath this, even though I'm tempted to blame you or lash out or whatever. And the same thing for the reverse is when if I'm in a good state of mind, of course, if they're coming at me and I go, hold on, I want a great relationship with you and I'm starting to feel defensive because of the anger you're throwing at me, and it's totally valid and maybe I deserve it. But anger always has more to it. Resentment always has more to it. Why does this hurt so much? I hate that I hurt you. Can you explain? Can we navigate this together? And those conversations used to take a long time. The crazy awesome thing about this method is that it becomes second nature, and these negative emotions don't stop being a source of shame and start being an indicator of disconnection. And the conversations become faster and faster. It's really cool.